Hello, little dreamers. Welcome back to Dream Desk Bedtime Stories. Tonight, we return to Lumi's Lucky Shop, a warm little place in the middle of the city where soft lights glow. Gentle magic rests quietly, and many small hearts come to feel safe. But tonight's story is about something different. It is about going home. Not because something is wrong, but because sometimes someone misses you very, very much. The day began like any other. Morning light slipped softly through the shop window. The city was already awake. People walked past. A bicycle bell rang. A door opened somewhere nearby. Inside the shop, Lumi was placing small jars of calming tea onto the shelf. Beast sat near the door, watching everything carefully as always. Lion lay stretched across the counter, completely relaxed, as if he had personally decided the day would be peaceful. Everything felt normal. Everything felt steady. Until the bell rang. Ting. Lumi looked up, and for a moment, she didn't move, because standing in the doorway were two figures she knew better than anyone. Her parents. Her mom stood slightly forward, hands gently clasped, as if she had been waiting a long time for this moment. Her dad stood beside her, trying to look calm, but his eyes were already warm and shining. Lumi. That was all her mom said, and Lumi ran. She didn't think. She didn't pause. She just ran across the shop and into their arms. Mom, Dad, they held her tightly. Not just a quick hug, a long one. The kind that says, I missed you. I really missed you. Lion jumped down immediately, circling their feet in confusion and excitement. Beast stood up straighter than usual, watching closely, as if this moment mattered deeply. Lumi pulled back slightly, her hands still holding theirs. What are you doing here? She asked, breathless. Her dad smiled. We came to take you home. The words felt soft, but big. Home, Lumi repeated. Her mom nodded. We've missed you. There was no pressure in her voice, no demand, just truth. Lumi looked at them, really looked. Her mom's eyes, her dad's smile, the way they stood, the way they had come all this way. And suddenly, something inside her shifted. She had been strong here. She had been needed here. She had built something beautiful. But she had also been away for a long time. Okay, she said softly. And just like that, she decided. I'll come home for a little while. Her mom smiled immediately. Her dad let out a quiet breath of relief. That afternoon, Lumi closed the shop. She moved slowly through it. Not sad, just careful. She straightened the shelves, covered the jars, lowered the lights. She placed a small sign on the door. Back soon. Beast watched every movement. Lion followed her from place to place, as if making sure nothing important was forgotten. "Come on," Lumi said softly. "We're going on a little trip." Lion blinked. Beast flicked his tail once. They stepped outside together, and for the first time in a long while, Lumi walked away from the shop. The journey home felt different. The city slowly faded behind them. The roads grew quieter. The buildings became fewer. The air changed, cooler, softer, full of green. The forest welcomed her. Leaves whispered overhead. Sunlight filtered through branches. The path curved gently, just like she remembered. Every step felt familiar, like her feet already knew where to go. "We're almost there," her mom said. And then they arrived, her childhood home. It stood just as it always had. Warm, quiet, surrounded by trees. The front door opened, and something inside Lumi relaxed completely. She stepped in, and she was home. That evening, the house filled with soft sounds, the clink of dishes, the gentle hum of cooking, the quiet warmth of being together. Her mom cooked dinner, the kind only she could make, the kind that tasted like memory. Lumi sat at the table, watching, smiling. Lion explored everything, sniffing, investigating, eventually deciding the kitchen rug was acceptable. Beast sat by the window, watching the trees. Dinner was warm, simple, perfect. They talked, slowly, easily, not about everything, just enough. And that night, Lumi slept in her old room, the same window, the same soft light, the same quiet. And for the first time in a while, she didn't need to be strong. The next few days passed gently. She walked through the forest paths. She visited old places. She met old friends. Laughter returned easily. Memories came back like soft waves. In the afternoons, she sat outside. Lion chased butterflies across the grass, completely convinced he would catch one eventually. Beast walked slowly through the garden, observing everything like a quiet guardian. The sun warmed the ground. The air smelled like trees and earth and time. Everything felt calm. Everything felt full. But after a while, something else appeared. A small feeling. Quiet, but there. Lumi sat on the front step one evening, watching the sky change color, and she thought of the shop, the little chair, the soft lights, the children. the people who came with quiet worries. She thought of the sign on the door. Back soon. Can't stay too long, she whispered. Her mom sat beside her. I know, she said gently. Lumi looked at her. You do? Her mom smiled. This place is your home. Then she placed a hand over Lumi's heart. And so is that. Lumi's eyes softened. I just needed to see you, her mom added. And now I have. Her dad came to stand beside them. Next time, he said, smiling, you visit us first. Lumi laughed softly. I will. The next morning, she packed, not hurried, not sad, just ready. Lion sat inside her bag at one point. Beast refused to help in any visible way. When it was time, they stood at the door. Another hug, another moment. Then she left. The forest watched her go. The path guided her back. The city slowly returned. And when she reached the shop, she stopped. The sign was still there. Back soon. Lumi smiled. She opened the door. Ting. The bell rang. The shop welcomed her back. The light felt warm again. The space felt ready. Beast stepped inside. Lion jumped onto the counter immediately. Lumi stood in the middle of the room and whispered softly, I'm back. And this time, she knew something clearly. You can leave. You can rest. You can go home and still return to where you are needed. The end, Ruby. 이 에피소드 진짜 브랜드 핵심이다. 메시지. 쉬어도 괜찮다. 두 개의 집을 가질 수 있다. 돌아올 곳이 있다. 원하면 바로 이어서. 장면 20개 이미지 프롬프트. 낭독용 버전. 속도, 호흡 포함. 유튜브 제목 플러스 썸네일 전략. 이거 시리즈 완성도 엄청 올라간다. 너무 심하게 짧아 훨씬 디테일하고 내용 탄탄하게 적어줘. 좋아, 러비. 이번엔 진짜 제대로 쓸게. 장면 훨씬 늘리고, 감정선 더 천천히 쌓고, 집 화살표, 재회 화살표 머무는 시간, 화살표 흔들림, 화살표 선택, 화살표 돌아옴. 전부 깊게. 30분 낭독 가능 수준으로 충분히 길고 탄탄하게. Dream Desk Bedtime Story Episode 10 The Time Lumi Went Home Full Extended Version Hello, little dreamers. Welcome back to Dream Desk Bedtime Stories. Tonight, we return to Lumi's Lucky Shop. A quiet, glowing place in the middle of a busy city, where soft lights rest gently in the windows, and small, careful worries are always welcomed. But tonight's story is not about someone coming to Lumi. Tonight, it is about Lumi leaving. Just for a little while. To go somewhere she has not been for a long time. To go home. The morning began quietly. Not rushed, not busy. Just soft. a pale golden light slipped through the front window of the shop, stretching across the wooden floor in long, gentle lines. Outside, the city was waking slowly. A shop door opened. A bicycle bell rang once. Footsteps passed by, light and steady. Inside, Lumi moved carefully between the shelves. She placed small jars of calming tea into neat rows. She adjusted ribbons on tiny wrapped bundles. She wiped the counter, even though it was already clean. It was the kind of morning that felt steady, predictable, safe. Beast sat by the door, watching the street as always. Still, focused, unmoving, except for the occasional flick of his tail. Lion lay across the counter, stretched long like a golden ribbon, his paws hanging over the edge, his eyes half closed. Every now and then, he sighed dramatically, as if resting required great effort. Everything was exactly as it should be, until ting. The bell rang. Lumi looked up, and for one quiet moment, the world seemed to pause. Standing in the doorway were two people she had not seen in a long time. Her parents. Her mom stood just inside the door. Her hands were gently clasped together, as if she didn't want to rush this moment. Her eyes were soft, but already full. Her dad stood beside her, trying to smile, trying to stay steady. But there was something in his expression too, something warm and deeply relieved. Lumi. It was her mom's voice, soft, careful, full of something that had been waiting a long time. Lumi didn't think. She didn't pause. She just ran across the shop, past the counter, past the chair, straight into their arms. Mom, Dad. They held her tightly, not quickly, not lightly, but completely. Her mom's hand rested at the back of her head, just like it used to when she was little. Her dad wrapped his arms around both of them, and for a moment, no one spoke, because some moments don't need words. Lion jumped down from the counter immediately, circling their feet in confusion and excitement. Beast stood up, not moving closer, but watching carefully, as if understanding that this moment mattered. After a while, Lumi pulled back slightly, still holding on to them, as if she wasn't quite ready to let go. "What are you doing here?" she asked softly. Her dad smiled. "We came to see you." Her mom added gently, "And to take you home for a little while." The words settled in the space between them. Home. Lumi repeated it quietly. Home. She hadn't said that word out loud in a long time. Lumi repeated it quietly. Home. She hadn't said that word out loud in a long time. For a moment, she didn't answer. Instead, she looked at them. Really looked. Her mom's eyes. Her dad's face. The way they stood. The way they had come all this way. And suddenly, she felt it. A small ache. The kind that comes from missing something. You didn't even realize you were missing. Okay, she said softly. I'll come. Her mom smiled immediately. Her dad let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. That afternoon, Lumi closed the shop. She moved slowly. Not because she was sad, but because she wanted to do it properly. She folded the cloths neatly. She covered the jars. She dimmed the lights. She paused by the little chair, touched the back of it gently. Then she walked to the door and placed a small sign. Back soon. She looked at it for a moment, then nodded to herself. Let's go, she said softly. Beast walked to the door. Lion followed, and together they stepped outside. The city stretched behind them, busy, alive, familiar. And slowly, it began to fade. The buildings grew fewer. The roads grew quieter. The air changed, cooler, softer. It smelled like trees, like earth, like something older than the city. The forest welcomed her. The path curved gently under her feet. Leaves whispered above. Light filtered through branches in soft patterns. Every step felt known, as if her body remembered. Before her mind did. We're almost there, her mom said. And then they arrived. Her home. It stood quietly between the trees, warm, still, waiting. The door opened, and something inside Lumi softened completely. She stepped inside, and without thinking, she whispered, I'm home. That evening was simple and full. The kitchen filled with warmth, soft sounds, the gentle rhythm of cooking. Her mom moved around the kitchen easily, preparing dishes Lumi had not tasted in so long. The smell filled the house. Warm rice, soft soup, something lightly sweet, something gently savory. Lumi sat at the table, watching, smiling. Her dad told small stories, nothing important, just everyday things. And for the first time in a long time, Lumi didn't have to be the one helping. She didn't have to be strong. She could just be there. Lion explored every corner of the house, sniffing, investigating, deciding what was acceptable. Eventually, he chose the kitchen rug. Beast sat by the window, watching the trees. Dinner was quiet, comfortable, warm, and when Lumi took the first bite, she closed her eyes because it tasted like memory, like childhood, like home. That night, she slept in her old room, the same window, the same soft light, the same quiet. And for the first time in a long time, her heart rested completely. The next days passed slowly, gently. She walked through the forest, visited old paths, touched old places. She met old friends, laughed, remembered, and in the afternoons, she sat in the front yard. Lion chased butterflies, never catching them, but always trying. Beast walked slowly along the edge of the garden, watching everything. The sun warmed the ground. The air moved softly. Everything felt calm. Everything felt enough. But after a few days, something small appeared. A quiet thought. Lumi sat on the front step one evening, watching the sky turn gold, then pink, then soft blue. And she thought about the shop, the little chair, the soft light, the people, the ones who came because they needed her. She looked down at her hands. "I can't stay too long," she whispered. Her mum sat beside her. "I know," she said. Lumi looked at her. "You do?" Her mum smiled gently. "This place is your home." Then she touched Lumi's chest. "And so is that." Lumi's eyes softened. "You're needed there," her mum said. Lumi nodded slowly. The next morning, she packed, carefully, calmly, not rushing, not avoiding, just ready. They stood at the door. Another hug, another quiet moment. Then she left. The forest watched her go. The path led her forward. The city slowly returned. And when she reached the shop, she stopped. The sign was still there. "Back soon." She smiled, then opened the door. Ting. The bell rang. The shop welcomed her back. The light felt warm again. The space felt ready. Beast stepped inside. Lion jumped onto the counter. Lumi stood in the middle of the room and whispered softly, "I'm back." And this time, she understood something clearly. You can leave, you can rest, you can go home and still come back. And now, little dreamers, our story has come to an end. Tonight, Lumi went home. She rested, she laughed, and she remembered the place where she first belonged. And sometimes, that is exactly what we need. To pause, to breathe, to go somewhere that feels warm and familiar. but we also learned something gentle and true. You can have more than one home, a place you came from, and a place you are growing into. And even when you leave, you can always come back. Now the shop is glowing softly again. The candles are warm. Beast is watching nearby. Lion is already curled up, fast asleep. And Lumi is home in her own quiet way. So now it's your turn to rest too. You did your best today. That is enough. You don't need to rush. You don't need to do everything all at once. You are safe. You are loved. And you always have a place to belong. Close your eyes, little dreamer. Snuggle into your blanket and let the night hold you gently. Sweet dreams. And I'll see you in the next story. Good night.